Hello. This is for my remote people or anybody who was absent for this task, this class. I just want to go over a few things, and we're going to make some predictions at the end. So if you want to open up your, document that's attached here, and I'll tell you exactly when to write on that document. And I want you to. All right. So I got this presentation here, and we've already read one short story, Monsters That Do on Maple Street. We're going to read a few more. And, I'm going to have you read each story by yourself. And I guess it might be a little bit different for my remote people, but it's still worthy of taking a look at this. So I have a list here of, habits or actions that strong, active readers do. Because, many 7th grade students, they say they read something, whether it's the short story or the book, but they didn't actually read it. Their eyes looked at all the words. Maybe they scanned over all the words, but it's not actively reading. And then you ask them, well, what was that about? And they're like, I don't remember, I don't know, because they didn't read it. They just looked at the words. Okay, so we want to make the distinction. These are the things that active readers actually do. And I know it says, there's something that I want you to do there. You can ignore those instructions. I'm just going to go through it with you. Okay, some of these things you might know, some of these things you might already do, but here we go. Okay, so the first one is preview. Okay, preview. This is, what most of us do if we go to a bookstore or the library, and you do this, right? Previewing, as it says here, is looking at the cover, reading the title, and maybe opening and reading some of the text. You can look at the cover. Oh, it's got a medal on it. I wonder what that means. It must be good. The cover looks kind of cool. The title, we are okay. Look at the back. It's got some blurbs from other people. If you look on the inside, you read that little blurb about what the book is about. You see some nice artwork. You look at the size of the letters. Maybe there's some pictures. Ooh, the chapters are short. I like that. All of these things is previewing. And this is what you do usually when you pick up a book. And it's an important skill. You should continue to do this. Okay? Believe it or not, it gives us a lot of information that helps us understand it. The next one is question. And this is just basically, asking yourself questions as you're reading. Who, what, when, where, why, right? Who is this person? Why are they going there? What's going to happen next? Why did he say that? All of these things, asking yourself questions as you're reading. Hopefully you're doing those things because this is a great habit of strong, active readers. Predicting, again, we all do this when we watch movies, 100%, I can say it. You all make predictions when you watch a movie. It's just sort of guessing what's going to happen next. You'll be giving it some information in a book, in a movie, and you're just going to predict, like, oh, I bet that's the bad guy. Oh, I bet they're going to do this. I bet you they're going to get together in the end. I bet you that guy's going to, kill that one. Making predictions is something we automatically do, and when you're reading, hopefully you're doing it as well. To infer, we go through this a lot in elementary school. Inferences is when we are sort of making connections. The author is giving us bits and pieces, and we can sort of take that information and make an inference. The best example is when we did the heart in the bottle. We had those pages. Maybe I can get them for you. We had those pages where it's just blank space, and the illustrator and author just has the girl coloring. On the next page, she's running. Where is she going? There's no words on this page. Where is she going? We know where she's going. We can make that inference. We've read the other pages. We know exactly where she's going. She's going to see grandfather, although he's not there. Okay, that's an inference. And this is what strong readers do. Okay? Next, we make connections. Okay? And again, I think most students do this when they're actually into something. They make connections. Oh, that reminds me of this time that happened to me. This character reminds me of my friend. That mom is a lot like my mom. This town is very similar to the town I live in. It's also about like comparing it to other stories we've read. This reminds me of that other book. This is similar to the same the book that the same author wrote. Similar styles. This reminds me of that movie I saw. Making these connections help us understand what we're reading. Summarizing. After you read a chapter, you should summarize it in your head. You don't have to go beat for beat. You don't have to write it down, but just say, okay, he went here, then she went there, and now I bet you they're going to go there. Just sort of summarize it in your head. If you read a page and you don't know what happened, if you read a chapter and you can't recall what happened, you should read it again. If you can't summarize it, you should read it again. Rereading is an important part of reading as well. Checking for understanding and making sure before moving on. When we're reading our short stories, try to make sense of it. You don't have to be totally correct. But if you read the short story, you can say, okay, what is that about? Okay, it's about this, and then this, and then this happens, and this happens. Maybe you could think about your plot diagram. Just trying to summarize. It's an important skill. It helps us understand our stories and what we're reading. Finally, evaluating. This is something that you all do. I hear you. I see you. I can't stop you from doing it. It's basically, judging it. Did you like it? Did you not like it? And, giving reasons why. It's criticism. Criticism isn't always bad. It could be good as well, right? I really liked that book. Here's why. I hated that book. Here's why. It was okay. It could have been better if it did this. I didn't like this part about it. Oh, I love that book. This could have been changed. This part was problematic. Whatever. Deciding if you liked it and why is evaluating. And again, I think most of you do this. Okay, so these are what active readers do. This is what I want you to be doing when you're reading your accelerated reader book, when you're reading our short stories. Just keep this stuff in mind. Like I said, a lot of us do this already. Just a quick review, similes and metaphors. A simile is a comparison of two things using like or as. A metaphor is a direct comparison of two unlike things that help us get a better understanding of one of them. So a simile says, love is like a battlefield. A metaphor says love is a battlefield. Both are comparisons. Both give us a better understanding of what love is like. I tend to think metaphors are a little bit more powerful and meaningful. It gives us a feeling. Remember, it's not literal, but it's sort of a shortcut and lets us understand, what the author's trying to tell us. Okay, so trick question. I'm telling you it's a trick question, so you can't be mad at me. I like ice cream. Simile or metaphor? It is neither, right? Just because it has the word like in it, it doesn't mean it's a simile. Remember, it's a comparison. You have to compare something to something else. This is like this. That's a simile. Just saying I like hamburgers is not a simile, okay? Life is like an ice cream cone. It melts away quickly. Enjoy it while you can. That's a simile. We're comparing life to an ice cream. Okay? All right. We got a metaphor. She was an old photograph. What does that mean? We're reading a story called All Summer Today about a girl named Margot. It looks like this. It's pronounced like this, Margot. And she is described as being an old photograph. This is a great metaphor because it gives us a lot to work with. We all have, an understanding of what an old photograph is. It's not literal. Remember, it's not literal. She's not literally an old photograph. It's supposed to convey a feeling. What does that mean if she's an old photograph? Well, what do we know about old photographs? So I asked my students this when they were in class. What do you know about old photographs? Sometimes they get stumped. So I show them this picture of an old photograph. It's not about the image itself. It's about being an old photograph. So what do we know about old photographs? All right, they're black and white. Okay, is she black and white? No, but does that say something about her personality? But they tend to be a little bit dull. Is Margot dull? Actually, she is kind of dull. They're kind of worn away. Okay, Margot is kind of worn away. They're damaged sometimes. Margot is pretty damaged. Students said today, they're fragile. Yeah, like Margot is fragile. So this is the beauty of a good metaphor, is that, we can all bring something to the table. It can be meaningful to all of us, and it's like a shortcut. The author can say, choose an old photograph and we make meaning, for ourselves instead of having to be told what that means. So here's where I want you to write on that document. It's a blank document. I want you to make a few predictions. We went over some of the skills that authors do. That good readers utilize. So I want you to practice making predictions. So we have the title of the story, All Summer in a Day. Based on the title, what do you think the story will be about? So you can pause this video. You can open that doc that's attached to this, and you can just type in a sentence or two. Don't overthink it. Don't give me a whole paragraph. Don't do it. Just a sentence or two. What is the story about? All right. I'm going to move on. You should have paused it while you were typing that. And now, after you made that prediction, I'm going to show you an image. We already know the story is called All Summer in a Day. Now I want you to think about the title and also this image. What is the story about now? Pause the video. Go over to that document right underneath your other prediction. Just another sentence or two. What is the story about now based on the picture? So again, pause the video. I'm going to keep moving on. Okay, so you predicted twice. We're going to make one more prediction. I'm going to give you the first few lines of the story. Based on that, this is what the story's going to be about. Ready? Ready. Now? Soon. Do the scientists really know? Will it happen today? Will it? Look, see for yourself. The children pressed to each other like so many roses, so many weeds, intermixed, peering out for a look at the hidden sun. It rained. So those are the first few lines of the story, based on the title, based on the image, based on these first few lines. What is this story going to be about? It's okay if you're wrong. The idea is that we're making predictions, and when we read the story eventually, we will correct those predictions and we'll therefore, be engaging with it and understand it a little bit more. Okay? So when you finish making your predictions, just turn in this assignment, and I guess that's it. I will post a copy of the story later this week. I'm going to have you read the story and find some similes and metaphors, but you don't need to know that right now. All right? Thank you very much. See ya.